Hello, Amit. We are at the Dubai FinTech and it's a busy day. Tell me about what's happening at the booth of ADIB and how's it going?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for this conversation. It is indeed a very very busy day. I must say the event is fantastic, very vibrant. It's great. It's a great network opportunity, and especially for us, we're really getting to meet a lot of new fintechs, which helps us because we have just recently launched our ADIB Ventures program, which is all about partnering with fintechs, right? And this is a great opportunity actually to meet new fintechs, great opportunity to see what's happening in the industry, and also helps us as a platform also to reach out and then people there that ADIB is there for you because ultimately it's fintech for all, right?
FinTech for all. Amit, you have a long career in the banking industry. You have seen things go from, you've seen how things are changing at this point of time and well before as well. What is the difference in times that we are at right now and what is happening with FinTech? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, I think for a long time we've seen the entire banking or financial services landscapes, changing. I think all the banks or all the industry have been talking about innovation agenda. People have been talking about transformation. But I think now what we're seeing is almost what I call convergence of multiple things, right? So if you look at last 18 to 24 months, there've been conversations about different things happening in different parts of the world. For example, this entire drive towards Gen AI and how that gets used in the banking services, blockchain and that actually becoming relevant. Then there've been conversations on open banking or open finance, right? Then we've been talking about tokenization. We've been talking about fractionalization of products and services. We've been talking about digital currencies. We've been talking about digital assets. I think now what we're seeing is a convergence of each of these. Now what we're seeing is that Gen AI is actually coming into reality. We're seeing actually more and more use cases out there which are actually shaping up what we call the bank of future. Similarly, blockchain has got now real use cases where we've seen how blockchain is actually helping banks in terms of transfers, in terms of payments, in terms of cross-border remittances, as an example. Right. Similarly, I think now we've already seen open banking or open finance coming into play. So I think for me, the theme is the convergence of each of these things, which now are helping us what we call shaping the bank of future, and that's pretty much what our ADIB agenda is right now as a part of Vision 2035.
Amit, before I come to your most important thing of this conversation, Smart Sukuk platform, let me ask you one question. We are all talking about Gen AI at the moment. Where is blockchain? And why don't we get that sort of an importance which Gen AI gets and not, why is not blockchain getting?
Look, I think it's not that one is more important or the other less important. I think it's more important is that what is more relevant for the consumers. And I think when we talk about blockchain, of course, there are a lot of relevant, use cases which are making, more relevant banking for the consumers. Like I gave you an example of, remittances or, the way the KYC been done, leveraging on the whole blockchain, infrastructure. So there are use cases, and it is relevant for the customer. I think it's just that Gen AI is picking up a bigger pace because Gen AI actually has got a wider use or a wider application. Right? So today, when you look at what's happening in the industry, you have Gen AI being used by financial services institutions at the stage of onboarding customers. Gen AI is being used in terms of customer due diligence, including ongoing due diligence. We've seen Gen AI tools being used or enabling the way you engage with the customers. Your conversational banking, which is completely Gen AI enabled. I think similarly, when you talk about underwriting, when you talk about managing risk management, again, we've seen great use cases coming based on Gen AI, the entire operational efficiencies. So I think it's just that, it's not that one is less important than the others. It is just that I think the wider use or the wider application which Gen AI is bringing, and hence that entire conversations around it.
Anyway, people are very enthusiastic when I speak about Gen AI. Before more questions on that, let me ask you about the new Smart Sukuk platform that ADIB just came up with, and what are the types of Sukuk that is available on the platform?
Sure, sure. So I think this is Fractional Sukuks, which was a part of our Smart Sukuk platform, is something that we really take pride of because this is first in the industry, definitely first in the region that we came out. And I think the whole genesis of this was what the consumers want. How do you come to the consumers based on their need is. So just as a quick background, today if a consumer wants to invest in Sukuks, the minimum ticket size is $200,000. So as a result of which a retail investor really didn't have any options of making investments until you had minimum of $200,000 with you. And typically the way of investing in a sukuk was through a relationship manager, with some interaction in the bank. I think what we have done, we have actually fractionalized the sukuks we converted them into denominations of $1,000 each, and we completely digitally enabled it. So what it basically means that a consumer, a retail consumer, now has options to invest in sukuks, buy, sell anytime, or remain invested in denominations of $1,000 each. And based on the amount of money that you have, you can actually keep planning your savings accordingly. And the other thing is that it's fully digital. So you are really not dependent on anyone. You can actually just do it based on your understanding, your convenience. So the entire journey is digitized, and it's available on our mobile banking platform. But the good part is that even people who today are not banking with us, who are not banking customers, they can download the app from the App Store within few clicks without any document. You can actually get onboarded, fund the account, and actually start investing in sukuks, right? So that's how the whole journey is. So we basically made sukuks affordable, we've made sukuks accessible, and we made the entire transaction very transparent.
Amit, you just said about you made the banking strategy right now is basically the apps. Tell me about why mobile first strategy is very important at this point of time, and how is this apps evolving at this point of time?
Yeah. So I think I'll answer your question in two parts. I think the reason why mobile banking has become more and more relevant because now the consumers want to consume financial services based on their convenience, based on when they need to consume. So banking is no longer something that you do in a banking, brick and mortar structure in banking hours. Today, banking is 24/7, and banking products and services consumed by customers based on their need. Maybe to make a payment, maybe to actually take some kind of finance to buy something, or for that matter, to pay for your rents. So or for that matter, pay your bills anytime. So that's banking. And I think your second part to your question that how is it evolving? The way I look at it is, banks were at one point of time being phygital. So you were digital first or mobile first with physical presence. Then, of course, the conversation has been to be purely digital, and I think we're still not there. But I think for me now, it's becoming digital. And what does widget mean? Digital means you actually translate your product and services through APIs, and you start putting APIs as widgets in different ecosystems based on the way the consumers want to consume. So for that matter, you want to open an account, you really don't need to download the banking app. You actually could be in any ecosystem, and you can actually consume services by simply consuming the APIs that we're going to expose to, and which in many ways is what we call open banking or open finance, right? So I think that's the convergence.
Amit, you've been the global head of retail banking. Tell me, what is the vision? I know digital transformation is quite a big topic. Apart from that, what is the vision that you are, trying to instill in the bank, and how are you looking forward in the retail banking segment?
Yeah. So I think, and I'm talking specifically for our bank, right? Our bank, our vision is what we call as Vision 2035. And Vision 2035 is that what is the bank of future that we're going to build? The bank of future, the one pillar, of course, is the entire customer experience piece, right? So everything starts with the customers, everything starts with the customers at heart. So that's one pillar. I think the second thing is all about your ESG. How do you actually ethical banking? How do you make sure that being a Sharia compliant bank, you actually offer ethical product and services to the customers? And while you do that, the third pillar is about innovation, and that is where our ADIB ventures or our AI strategy comes into play. So the bank of future would be a customer-centric bank where customers would define how they want to consume financial services, when they want to consume, and in what form and what shape they want to consume. And we as a bank will leverage on GenAI. We as a bank will leverage on fintech partnerships. We as a bank will leverage on innovative technologies, including blockchain, including digital assets, including digital currencies, with a single focus that how do we provide superior services, how do we provide differentiated product and services to our consumers. I think that's the bottom line.
Amit, my last question is to ask. I don't want to miss out on asking a question about stable coins. What do you see happening with stable coins? A lot out in the market. I mean, a lot of buzz going around with this topic. What is your perspective or view
I
on
think
it?
this is purely my personal view. I think the bottom line is that ultimately it all boils down to what are we solving for, right? And I think with stable coins or other forms of digital currencies, I think what we'll see going forward is more of inclusive banking. What we'll see is more and more in terms of the whole payment landscape transformation. I think in many ways we're heading towards a cashless economy in a real sense. We are actually moving towards making the entire payment structure more and more affordable, right? And at the same time, very transparent, right? So obviously from a regulatory lens, right, this is going to be a very, very a good way, in terms of payments and services. From a banking point of view, it brings a certain amount of efficiencies. It brings a lot of inclusivity, for sure, right? And it actually helps to drive the broader agenda of being a cashless economy.
Amit, this is a pleasure talking to you and wonderful insights. Thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
time.
Thank you.